Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Warhammer 40k Tier 10 Premium Tank Destroyer, the Nemesis E100. Now this is an E100, but with a difference, and that is that it actually has worse armour than an E100, but it has this funky ass gun. And the funky ass gun has 3 different rounds that fire 3 different alphas for 3 different types of reload. Now, the one thing that I keep seeing people say is that the HE is useless, having 350 alpha. This tank does not get HE whatsoever. It does not have HE. It has 3 different types of AP round, okay? And realistically, only 2 of them are the most useful in the tank. I very rarely use the standard AP round, mostly fire the premium, just because that's the strength of the tank, right, is that 875 alpha round, I think it is. That's the strength of the tank. And then having the ability to switch to the 350 alpha round, which reloads in like 6.5 seconds, or 7 seconds, is a fantastic asset for when you want to finish things off. But the punch of the premium round is what is nice about this tank. It's one of the only real things that is nice about the tank, for me personally anyway. So yeah, I just generally don't really use the standard rounds. But the one thing with the Nemesis is, and that's the reason we got a video on it again so quickly, is that it's been buffed already. Yes, it's been buffed already. And the reason for that is, well, number 1, money. Let's be real, money. And number 2 is that, no surprises, the tank was underperforming absolutely massively. And on the early stats, it was apparently underperforming by quite a lot. And the sentiment from everyone, I mean, you saw it probably from my tank review and from a lot of other people's tanks reviews of this tank, is that, yeah, the tank's was just not very good. There was no point, just no point in buying it for 22,000 gold. And naturally, you can get the discount from it, which was up to 50% off, I believe, which is down to 11,000 gold. Was it worth 11,000 gold? I still don't think so. Because, yeah, it's just an E100, but slightly worse. And what I said in the tank review was basically, if you were to take an E100 and play it the exact same way as the Nemesis, you'd probably just have, you'd probably have just as good a time. If we're totally honest. Because you're still as big, you're still as mobile as this tank is, but you've got better armour, and you've still got a slapping gun. But the buffs that they gave it have made it feel a little bit nicer for sure. Definitely helped it out. Is it still? Do I think it's still worth it to buy it at 11,000 gold, which is probably the discounted price it is at now? You might like it, you might not. I think this will be one of those tanks where some people might like it for that alpha and how hard it hits and might get its playstyle, and thus they'll like it. And then others will probably play it, see it as a big E100, because the big flaw, the thing that the buffs don't address is the big flaw for the tank, and that is, it's a big, massive target like the E100, and it's really easy to pen. And it's got no camo because it is a big, massive target, so it's easy to spot as well. So it just struggles to play that further back role like it wants to, because you can't keep up with the fight, number 1, because you're too slow. And then number 2, when you are sitting further back, you still get spotted and you still get penned easily anyway. But what are these buffs I'm on about? Well, these buffs are a 3.1 aim time down to a 2.8 aim time. And as you can see, the 3 different shots. The standard shot went to a 310 pen. That was across all 3 rounds. The shell velocity across all 3 rounds went up to 1,200 meters a second, which is absolutely lovely, to be fair. And the reload of the standard shot went from 19.8 second reload to a 17.3. The charge shot went from a 24.7 to a 21.6. And the rapid shot went from 9.9 seconds to 8.7 seconds. Massive buffs to those reloads, which again really helps it to sort of keep up with the fight a bit with its reloads, because the reloads were just a little bit slow, if we're all honest. And they really, really buffed it up to make it a lot nicer. So that is one thing that you definitely feel, and the shell velocity is one thing as well. Don't underestimate that. That 1,200 shell velocity as the difference to the 950 is absolutely lovely, and it helps. It helps for sure. It definitely makes this tank far more enjoyable to play. Do I still think it's that good? No, to be perfectly honest, I don't think it's that great. I still think the E100 could do the same job. But, yeah, that... Just 11,000 gold for basically an E100 that's slightly worse still makes me go, no. In terms of a crew on this tank, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanic, Clutch Braking, Steady Aim, Snapshot, and Run and Gun. The 3 gun perks to make this good as it humanly can be. Clutch Braking to make it so it turns a little bit quicker just to help with the feel of the mobility. And yeah, all the rest of the perks that you generally would run in general. And then in terms of equipment, I run the rammer, the GLD, and optics. Optics to be able to spot for myself. The GLD, just to make the aim time from 2.8 seconds even better. It's one thing that with the GLD, it feels even better. You get it down to 2.2, I think it is. And the optics to be able to spot for myself, because it is blind. And in that first game, we finished with no kills, 6.2k damage, 3k assist, high caliber in the second class, 1286 base XP. That was a pretty TDE game for the Nemesis, where it's typical highway, where we got that north spawn on, yeah, actually eastern spawn, but yeah, anyway, we got that spawn, and we did the thing that you really should do from that spawn, and that is win the town and just sit on that ridge and TD pretty much, and stop them pushing across the field and shoot the people trying to take your base. And we had a pretty nice time doing it. And again, with some of the shots that we were having at range, the shell velocity is a big thing that is very, very nice for it. And as well as that, the aim time being 3.1 down to 2.8 is definitely fantastic, because I think with the GLD and the crew skills and stuff like that, it was something like 2.7 seconds, something like that, 2.6, 2.7. And with this now at 2.8, it's like down to 2.2, 2.3, which is far more bearable, and it helps you really get the gun on target just that little bit quicker, which is nice. And that means that you don't have to stick around as much to take as many shells as what will probably come in. And to add to that, the shell velocity being what it is at 1200 now, it's a lot nicer to fire at range too, which is, again, where this tank is supposed to be, apparently. So those buffs have helped the tank and definitely do make it feel a lot nicer, and will help people do a lot better in it in general. Yeah, I still query whether it's worth it. Also, the 310 pen, by the way, is definitely another thing that is fantastic, as now you don't see a Type 5 Heavy and go, I can't deal with this. Now you can actually hit the Type 5 Heavy in its inverted commas weak spot, and you'll pen it, which is great. And more tanks like that, where you did struggle as a TD to pen heavy tanks, which is a TD's role. Yeah. So we're on this secondary plate, and we're on Prokhorovka. Good map for a TD, and a turreted one at that. And Randy is in his Lehman Russ. He is in the bowl. He's trying to spot for us, which he's doing quite well at the minute. We see the E100 slap that shell in 923. That's where this premium round is just so goddamn nice. Having that shell is such an asset, and it's why, and especially in games like this, I don't need to be firing any faster. And there's most situations you don't need to be firing that 4 seconds faster that the 700 alpha shell gives you. You may as well just be, look at that snapshot, nice. Yeah, you don't need to be firing any faster than I am. And the DPM on the rounds is still pretty much the same across all the rounds, so I'd be doing damage just as quick anyway. So yeah, from this point on, really, to be honest, I'd take full premium, and then, well, 30 rounds of the premium AP and 20 rounds of the 350 alpha AP. Just so that, you know, when I need to finish things off, I can switch. And yeah, I don't take it, because it got to the point where I was thinking, am I actually ever using the standard round? The answer is no. No, I was never using the standard round, because when did I ever need to think in a split second, oh, I need to fire 4 seconds faster because this person's on 600 hit points? Well, there's never, because the amount of time it'd take me to flick across back through, you know, from the premium round to the 350 alpha round to then flick to the standard round was probably just wasting about as much time on a reload as it would have done just to reload the premium round anyway, because it's just faffing, right? So, yeah, the premium round is just the best thing to use. So as you can see at the minute on this Prokhorovka game, the light tank's being pesky and annoying, which is good from him. It's keeping us all kind of lit up, and just, he's not quite cresting enough for us to get a shot in. The quicker that guy goes, the better, really, because he is basically spotting us every time we're trying to poke over to get shots. We get another nice shot through the side of that E100 turret. I did not expect that shell to go in, but it did, so we'll take it. 3.5k damage. That's where the 310 pen is probably better, because if we had 280 pen, I don't think that shot on that E100 would have ever gone through. Just because we had that slightly higher pen, we managed to sneak it through his side of his turret. And we just have to be patient. This game is all about being patient. This is definitely a patient game. And unfortunately, at that moment, the Sheridan did actually pop up enough for us to shoot, but we just weren't quite in a position to shoot it. And once again, he did poke up just enough for us to shoot, but unfortunately we got the ridgeline. Like I say, the faster this guy goes, probably the better, because he will stop spotting the guys that are along the one line that can shoot for Randy to get some assistance. And yeah, he'll stop spotting me as well, which means we can play a little bit more ballsy on this ridge. So we're just going to pop over to see if we can get a shot into the Mousechen, but we can't, and I'm being very, very careful, because I do know there's a 4005 back at, like, B2, A3, somewhere around there, and the 4005, if it's firing Hesh, could go through my lower plate. If it's firing AP, will definitely pen me everywhere, and I don't want to lose that 1,100 hit points. And again, this is patience. It's all about the patience. It's TD gameplay, really, isn't it? You just got to be patient and wait for your opening, because that's where you'll be able to slap up. And at the minute, it's not truly going the way we are. As you can see, I'm looking at what we've got behind us, seeing if they can get any shots at this Sheridan or anything like that. Randy pings B1 to say, look, there is something still at B1, and it's trying to shoot at me. We can't quite see it, though. Then I spot the mouse is crossing. I'm thinking, can I get a shot into the mouse? We'll try and get a shot into the side of his turret. Unfortunately, not. And yeah, it's not... at the minute, this game is just going a little bit too slowly. And we're still fairly equal, so not much is happening. But that mouse pushing across there makes me think, maybe they're going across the 6 line? And unfortunately, Randy gets shut down in the bowl because he just was getting premium spam straight through his turret, which is a problem for the Lehman Russ. And yeah, so now that he's gone, there's no real vision down the 2 line. And I do see that the Conqueror, or it's a Super Conqueror, you'll see in a minute, is at F0. And I think, is he on top of that hill? Is he actually out in the open for me to shoot? Well, now my vision's gone from the bowl in Randy, and the EBR doesn't seem to be bothered about spotting it up. I'm going to go over here to where my guys are spotting targets, and again, try and assist them to win this hill. Because there's quite a proliferation of tanks over here, so we're going to try and get some shots in. It's where the aim time is a little bit nicer, because we get the gun aimed in on that Centauro, slam the shell in for a big round, and there we go. There is the Super Conqueror. He is up on the hill. Unfortunately, though, he can also see me because I am spotted, but he does dodge, dip, dive, and dodge back into the little mounds around him, so he gets safe from me. We do try and pop the shot at him, though, but unfortunately just destroy the building, not the man, which is a sad, sad time. But now we're in a different position, which... now that Super Conqueror is pushed aggressively down into E9, I don't have to worry at this moment in time about being shot in the back of the head from F0, which is a big thing if he does go back there. And we get a nice shot into a different crossfire position into the Mousechen. And realistically, that Mousechen is now a bit boned, if I'm honest, from where he is. And as you can see, I am worried about that Super Conqueror because the Super Conqueror has moved back into a position where he can shoot me. I was kind of hoping that with the Super Conqueror running away, that the 2 medium tanks might have moved from H0 into the middle of the hill because they can go hull down on the hill. And that way they would have spotted the Super Conqueror and possibly put him off from being in a position where he could actually hurt me. But that's not happened. And there we end up seeing the SCRV 103. Oh, he gets spotted. 955. Oh, yeah. That's a nice round. When those big numbers pop up, that is a beautiful, beautiful time. And we're up to 6.1k damage so far. We spot the Mousechen's being ballsy. And it's like, no, Mr. Mousechen, get out of the game, sir. Goodbye. And as you can see, I'm detected. And I'm like, that's that Super Conqueror. I know it. He is looking at me right now. I don't like that. Because he's currently unspotted, which makes me go, yes, he is looking at me. There he is. He just pops up just as we get the gun in on target. He goes back behind cover. As you can see, I am always mindful of him because he is in such a strong position to start countering me. While I'm countering the guys on their 1-2 line, he is the counter to me, which makes it really, really bloody awkward that he is where he is. And that pesky light tank spots us up, which means that we're now detected again behind this ridge line, which again makes me go, this Super Conqueror is most definitely looking at me once again. And I try and get a little bit closer to the train track so that it makes it more of a difficult shot for him. And he ends up, yeah, popping a shot as a missing. So we're just being careful. Again, this is all about patience. We have to be very, very careful. We cannot push too aggressively at this point in time, because the team that pushes too aggressively too early will make the mistake and die. As you can see, that is what is happening to their team, because they got a 777 pushed up quite aggressively. The STRV 1030 is also trying to push up aggressively and is getting himself spotted and giving us the opportunity to try and shoot him. Unfortunately, I'm not quite getting the shot at him at this point, and as you can see, he gets spotted up again because he's trying his best to get a shot in. That Super Conqueror is starting to pummel shots into us, though, which is not good. The Sheridan ends up shooting down the SDRVK with what I assume was an RBRT as he came over the top of the ridgeline. And there goes another one of our team. But I'm just looking where... It's this sort of situation where can I help the team most? I try and poke over to see if I can spot anything. We end up seeing the Sheridan, which means we slap a big shell into that Sheridan, which is fantastic. That makes him less healthy, which is always good for the game. We're up to 7.5k damage. Unfortunately, the Super Conqueror gets another shell into me, which is very, very sad time. And we're just being very careful. Now the EBR is back on their... Well, it's gone over to their side. And he's going to actually flank round behind this Super Conqueror, which is good. But now I'm on 560 hit points. I'm very reluctant to be any more aggressive than I have been to poke over. Because if he shoots me again, I'm going to go down to a one-shot for everything. And I don't want that right now. I want just a little bit of my HP to play with. Especially if there's something like the 4005, which will be sitting near the back. And if he fires HE, or Hesh, sorry, he might not pen me. But he could certainly splash me for a decent amount. If he splashes me for like 400-500 with Hesh, he probably won't kill me at this point. But if he does end up firing the AP, well, it kills me no matter what. But yeah, if I took the shell from the Super Conqueror, he'd be able to just kill me no matter what with the splash, which would be a bad, bad time. So we're trying at the minute with the quick fire rounds to just destroy the buildings so that it makes it a little bit easier for me to get shots at the Super Conqueror in case that he pokes up a little bit aggressively. Unfortunately, the Super Conqueror killed the Projecto 65 over there, which makes it so that the EBR is our only hope. Help me, EBR 105. You're my only hope against the Super Conqueror. He's clearly starting to put shots into him. So I decided, you know what, okay, we're going to get closer to this train track, which will make it harder, again, for him to shoot me. And it makes it more likely that I can light him up. Now, I don't end up lighting him up because he's below the ridgeline. The EBR is, and I'm thinking at this point, where the position is, hopefully he'll be able to take that. Because once that Super Conqueror is out, that Super Conqueror is gatekeeping right now. With where he is gatekeeping, because I cannot poke over the ridge and get a shot. Because as soon as I get lit, the Super Conqueror shoots me in the side, which is not good, and it's just very, very unhelpful. But fortunately enough, he's in a very, very bad predicament with that EBR, because that EBR has pushed right to A0, which means he's getting shots at that Super Conqueror, and that means that, well, quite frankly, he's just not going to be bothered about me anymore, which is great. He gets lit up again. I'm just seeing if I could get a shot at him. Couldn't quite see it. We get lit up again. I'm assuming that was the Sheridan as he was running around, and we didn't quite catch a glimpse of it. And there we go. The EBR shuts down the Super Conqueror, which is wonderful. Now it's 5-4. We're technically winning. But the EBR is going to be in a position where he can light up the enemy team. So we just, again, patience. Patience is key. We are having to wait for this EBR. We're having to wait for the light tank to go spot. So that once these guys get lit up, I can start TDing my way through the enemy team. We know where they are. There's no prizes at all for guessing where they are, because we know exactly where they are. They're at A2, they're at B2, in that corner. Again, my team is just waiting for the EBR to light them up. The Leopard takes a hit. I get spotted as I poke over, and I'm like, okay, no. I know it's not the 4005 looking at me, but I'm not taking the hit. Not doing it, not losing enough, well, not losing hit points to put me down to a one-shot yet. And there is the AVRE. That was one of the things I was scared about as well, because that thing would also just derp me and kill me in one shot, which is not helpful. We pop over to see if we can get a shot at the 4005. Can't quite see him. But once again, there's 1 minute left on the clock. As you can see, this game has run for a very long time. And there's 1 minute left on the clock. What's the point of pushing? There isn't. So we're just going to wait to see if they make the move themselves, because they have to push and have to kill two of us at least to have a chance of winning the game. So screw it. We'll stay here. If they expose, we'll get a nice shot into them, sure. But they have to expose themselves. If we push too aggressively and get ourselves spotted and killed, there's a possibility we lose this game. So, yeah, so be it. The EBR goes in to go spot him, which is good, which hopefully means they'll get lit up and get some shots in these final 30 seconds. T-57 Heavy gets spotted up. Just waiting for the 4005. There it is. He gets spotted up. 646. Sad times, because we loaded the standard AP for reasons unknown to me. I don't know why I did that. I should have just stuck with the premium AP. We would have rolled for like 850, 900 odd there. But it is what it is. And there's 8 seconds left on this game. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And victory. Look at that. Very, very long game for the Nemesis. Perfect game, really, on prop, because we got to TD. We'll finish with the victory. 2 kills, 8.2k damage, 575 assistance, high caliber, the second class for 8k damage. And, yeah, 1,363 base XP. It's probably because we weren't really spotting for ourselves, because we were playing a TD role. And a really, really great game for the Nemesis, which has been buffed already. And it's definitely a lot better to play. The gun handling is a hell of a lot nicer than it was, which helps a hell of a lot. But still, do I think it's worth 22,000 gold? Hell no, nothing's worth that. Is it worth 11,000 gold? I'll leave that one down to you. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!